Predators who create sexually explicit altered images known as deepfakes can now face up to 2 years in prison as the government cracks down on this online abuse.
Well, the Channel 4 News presenter Cathy Newman was looking into this kind of abuse of women through AI images last year when she discovered that she, in fact, was a victim. Her own face had been used to create deepfake pornography. Oh, and it just gives me the chills just watching that. It's disgusting. Cathy joins us now alongside the former Love Islander Callie Jane Beech, also a victim of deepfake images, and has campaigned and been in touch with the Ministry of Justice in order to criminalise their creation. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Callie Jane, let's start with you, because actually you've been campaigning on this issue under the previous government, and it seems like finally action is being taken, because up until now there has been no offence of actually creating these images. No. Tell us about your experience.
So I was just contacted out of the blue. Someone said there's an explicit image of you, and I said, well, that can't be true, because I knew I hadn't taken anything like that. And they said it's on Google. So I asked them to send me the link so I could have a look. Opened it, and to my surprise, there was an image of me. I knew it wasn't real because I had the original photo, and it was for an underwear campaign, but the underwear wasn't there. I then followed through the site to see where it was being hosted, and it was on a website that was advertising to put pictures of females into the site and be able to strip the clothes, and it was also advertising other apps that you can download on your smartphone to do this to anybody. And that's when I found out where the real issue was. Took to my social media, spoke out on there about it. And then, a lot of people came rushing forward and said this is a major problem, but it was never something I realised was an issue until that point, how big it was and how many people contacted me. And then it struck that it was really bad when it was a family member of a 14-year-old schoolgirl that I think actually took her life because images was created of her and sent around school as a bullying tactic.
And how did it make you feel to see an image of you not taken by you or of you, but a pornographic image that is obviously being exploited online?
I think it was a bit of mixed emotions at first, because at first I was just a bit in shock. I wasn't quite sure what to feel, and like I said, my instant response was to kind of go on social media and say, guys, I've just seen this image of me. I'm not really sure what's going on here, and is it a bit of a laughing matter? And then I was like, no, this is actually a really serious thing. And it was just it was just shocking. But I have a daughter, so that's when I started to think, OK, hold on a minute, like, this could happen to her. And that's when, again, other people had said to me it has been happening to children, and, you know, paedophiles have been using this AI technology for their own access as well. And there's, like I said, there was nothing to stop them doing it. And I found that when I contacted the police, and it was such a grey area, and they just said, you know, there's not a lot we can do because it's not a real image of you. And even though I tried to argue it and said, but it technically is, it's my head and my arms and my torso just superimposed parts, it was still kind of like, we're not really sure what we can do.
There was this phrase you used, Cathy, where you said that it was kind of me and not me at the same time. It must be such a strange experience to see something which is clearly not you, and yet the AI now is so sophisticated, it can make it look so realistic.
Yeah, I mean, mine was actually, as it turns out, created a few years ago. But yeah, it was weird because, apart from anything else, you know, my curly hair is so much part of my identity. So to see myself and yet not myself was strange. And then the more I watched, I made myself watch the whole video, and I hadn't seen it before we started filming because we'd hoped to get some, as we call it, case studies, you know, interview some other people who this had happened to, but no one wanted to speak about it, which is totally understandable because you worry that if you speak about it, you'll attract more of the wrong kind of attention and, you know, generate more deepfakes ultimately. So I decided to, in a way, be my own case study. And I hadn't seen the video before we started filming. And I kind of thought, well, you know, every day we cover gruesome stories, it will be water off a duck's back. But I found myself keeping on returning to the images. It was haunting. And I think the worst thing about it, you know, as you've reflected, is not knowing who created this video and why and where they were and who they were. And I still think about that, you know.
The image that we're able to show this time of the morning is chilling. It's not you. And clearly it's the beginning of something which, as you have already alluded to, is explicit and pornographic and disgusting. Yeah. And that is, as you've already described, a haunting thing to know is out there on the internet. And as you say, you contacted a number of women who you know have also been subjected to this. People don't want to talk about it. They don't want to drive traffic towards these kind of sites. Do you think, Kelly Jane, that actually introducing a law which says the image of you, the image of Cathy, these are now going to be illegal, the creation of those images is going to be illegal, is going to have an effect? Because, of course, the internet is worldwide. And presumably the legislation will only cover the UK.
I mean, I hope it will have an effect. I guess time will tell. It's good that it's been noticed, so that's a positive for now. But I think, you know, a key word that we were speaking about was consent. Because some people, you know, when the legislation's written out, it cannot just state that it's for if they was trying to cause harm or intent of, you know, harassment to that person. But then there's so many loopholes within that. So that's why it really needs to be based on just completely being an offence, illegal, and no one's consented for you to use their identity or images. That is what needs to be illegal.
Can I take you back to the 14-year-old girl you talked about?
Yeah.
Because Cathy talked about this being a fantasy, and people are buying a fantasy. But this can also be creating videos which people think are real. Yeah. And that 14-year-old girl was being, you know, her friends were being told this is really you. Yeah. And that is also, in a different way, really dangerous.
And imagine having, like, being a 14-year-old schoolgirl, and as difficult as, you know, we found it as fully grown women, and being able to go to the police and then, you know, having management to turn to and friends to turn to kind of contact these sites and these platforms to take this down. How do you approach that as a 14-year-old schoolgirl to your parents, for instance, that may not understand today's technology and AI, and that, you know, they could be nervous to speak about this? And that is another thing that struck me the most, was how are the younger generation going to cope with this?
And it's growing exponentially. You know, we found in the research we did on Channel 4 News that there'd be more deepfake videos created in 2023 than all the other years before put together. So it's growing exponentially. And this is something that is going to affect, you know, we're in the public eye, we can talk about this, we have a platform to try and get action. But actually, it's ordinary women and girls up and down the country who this is happening to as we speak. And yes, the law has changed, but sharing deepfakes is already illegal. And it's only by April that tech companies will have to implement the Watchdog Ofcom's guidance. So it's the regulators and lawmakers are sort of running behind the speed of technology here.
It's a massive task, but your campaigning is making a difference.
Yeah, Cathy and Kelly Jane, thank you both very much.
Thank you very much.